Hi, I'm Aaron, and since Preston couldn't be here today, he asked me to read this on his behalf. Although I didn't get a chance to have too many deep conversations with my grandmother, I once interviewed her for a school project about our family's origins, which gave me great insight into how she became the woman she is today, a woman of great faith. In the late 1950s, China was experiencing a time of government instability, famine, and war. My grandmother and her family were living in Hong Kong, and times were tough. Making ends meet and having food on the table was a struggle. Grandma was not well educated, but was determined to keep her family fed and sheltered. To help provide, not only did she work as a seamstress, but she would also take goods from Hong Kong and transport them across the border into China and sell them illegally. With 3 children and 1 infant in tow, she would make the dangerous journey almost daily. One day, during her return trip across the border, she was waiting in line to cross. Being anxious was normal, but to make matters worse, the children were tired and the baby was crying due to hunger. Closer and closer she got to the border, when she was suddenly tapped on the shoulder. Grandma turned around to see who it was, and to her dread, she found a border officer beckoning her out of line and to follow him. She was led into a back room and was asked to wait. Unfortunately, she was unable to sell all of her goods, and though they were hidden in a secret compartment in her bag, they could still be easily found. They felt like they were left in the room for hours when she decided to pray to God. Prior to this, she never professed God as her personal savior, but as she sat in the corner of the room, she asked God that if he was real, for his divine intervention. A few hours later, a guard came into the room and with no explanation, told her to leave. It was from that point on that Grandma acknowledged that God was her savior. As I grew up, I noticed Grandma's faith and how she was continuously in prayer and served others. She encouraged me to pray for the salvation of our family and friends, just as she did. This is how she lived out her faith and how deeply she treasured her relationship with God. Despite her discomfort and pain during her last month, she would still encourage others to go to church. For Grandma, she understood that though she was close to the finish line, she was not done. Now that she's reached the finish line, joining God in heaven, I'm sure he greeted her with, "Well done, good and faithful servant." It is through her example of faith that I hope to emulate, so that one day I can be greeted in the same way.